lights off, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal brawl. Mental meltdown, giving in flames. Chris and Henrik bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content. They're the games, ripping through pixels, the ultimate game to get away. The ultimate. Game over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage. Talking gaming news, industry that can't escape. We're reviewing video games, no need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jails. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quits. Rage quits. I'm losing my mind. Chris and Henrik, they're fucking gaming all the time. Rage quits. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back and nothing else to compare. Rage quits. It's a love-hate affair.
What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
You know me, Chris. It's Wednesday. It's time to rage.
Oh man, we got a whole lot to unpack on this magnificent show that we call Rage Quit, and we can't thank you, the listeners and the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we just want to do a quick highlight for anybody that's not following our YouTube channels. This QR code will lead you directly to your boy, Chris Collins. So go ahead and hit the notification bell so you never, ever miss those live shows.
And you see that QR code right there? You should know where that goes at this point. It goes to my YouTube channel, where there's tons of content just waiting to be watched. So go watch some. And let me know
Are we
how
still
it
scanning
is.
QR codes? Are you guys afraid of it? Let us know. I swear it will not lead you down a deep tunnel. It will lead you directly to our YouTube channels. But we always like to start off the show with a bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulated all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. A Chinese engineer looked at a normal gaming setup and said, what if it shot back? Turning a controller into a real-time combat rig that makes losing a match feel like a poor life decision. And with this kind of screenshot that you see on screen, HenricK, this might be your potential rig if you have the space for it.
Hey, if you want that 4D experience, maybe that will be what you need.
Is this how we groom the next esports athletes instead of having a circle closing in on you like we see in Battle Royale? But before we roll the clip, gamers, quick question. Are we actually chasing immersion, or are we one bad patch away from games requiring a waiver? It's just a thought. So let's go ahead and roll the clip.
At this point, he should just do a setup for like a mech setup, a mech game. And, when the mech explodes, the setup just explodes. And
there we go. But what game would you absolutely avoid, HenricK, if you were forced to be glued to the chair and finish the online match? Which game would you prefer to just avoid completely?
An online match. Probably something like Counter-Strike, because a lot can go wrong in a Counter-Strike game.
Not Call of Duty with like
of things going on. Things.
What about a light
by.
machine gun? A light machine gun in Call of Duty.
Light
Sometimes
machine
it
guns
takes
are in
forever.
Counter-Strike too, Chris.
Well, that's true, but I guess I need a hardcore mode, because if that bullet hits, I only want to get hit once in the chest, and I don't want any more shit exploding in front of this, this beautiful canvas that we call Chris Collins. All right, enough flattering myself. Let's dive right into the comments. And the first one is from Elon Musk that reads, hardcore. Don't get any ideas, though, Mr. Musk. We don't need any of this in the neural links, okay?
He'll take this idea and roll with it, I'm sure.
No, HenricK. Keep Robert House in the lore of Fallout, not in real life, okay? Last thing we need is that. The next one is, oh gosh, a meme that says, his neighbors who live below him are wondering why there's a war above them. Yeah.
Just your average day. Maybe they're used to it at this point.
Yeah, but maybe you need to keep it on ground floor, not in the basement, not on the second floor, because if shit starts to, flame up,
you got to get out of there.
you need an easy exit, maybe a back door. And then the last comment that reads, there's gamers, and then there's this guy. I salute you. What
doing what others could
menace. Exactly. But this. Holy cow, HenricK. This started to go viral because an NFL athlete, you might have heard of him, his name is Micah Parsons. He hopped on social media and looked at ARC Raiders like it was a treadmill with no skip button, frustrated that he couldn't buy coins or perks to leapfrog the grind and get straight into the good stuff. And what was it? It was this tweet that went viral. And HenricK, he's basically saying it's the gaming equivalent of like showing up for a marathon and then asking where the Uber pickup is. He'd rather pay to fast forward the grind than clock 100 hours of actually playing, which kicked the Hornets' nest into overdrive. When you see this kind of stuff, HenricK, you're like, is this a rich man's problem?
In a way, yeah. I mean, it also just he probably doesn't have a ton of time to sit there and.
Oh no,
grind out
his ass is sitting. No, he's not in the playoffs, HenrikK. He's got a lot of time.
Oh, okay.
He only plays football once a week, goes to practice
put
a
the
little
time
bit.
in, man.
Yeah, you're not doing nothing. It's not like you're playing for an NFC championship. So what's he crying about? But I get it. Once the offseason starts to really kick in, you got to get back to work. But before we jump into the comments, gamers, let's hear what the leader of the Bungulators, the Burnt Peanut, has to say about Micah's viral tweets. So let's go ahead and take a look.
I can't spend 100 hours on ARC Raiders to grind, but I got 500 for someone to grind it for me. And he quote tweets and says, biggest downside about Arc Raiders, they won't let you buy coins or perk packages like you can on Clash or Royal or 2K.
I'm telling you, listen, I'm all for opening up extraction shooters to the more casual player. I'm all for it. I think it's great. But then you get that. This isn't Clash Royale.
He said, go back to your mobile gaming, because that's where you belong.
Do you have any suggestions on how you could open it up for the casual players? When I thought about what the Burnt Peanut was saying, I was like, you know what? He might actually have a point, because sometimes, that's always the joke. It's like, man, I keep losing. I'm losing. Let's jump into a free loadout and go into Stella Montes. Maybe they should have preset loadouts already ready to rock and roll, because sometimes it's a little time consuming to try to build up your loadout. Maybe just a thought.
Yeah, I think they did find a pretty nice middle ground, though, with Arc Raiders to already open it up to some casual people who are not really used to the extraction shooter genre. I mean, just like in the sense that, comparing it to Escape from Tarkov, in Escape from Tarkov, you don't know what does what because it doesn't tell you. You got to figure that out. In Arc Raiders, it does tell you at least.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you're saying it like that, maybe scratch that. They don't even have like a UI even or damage, points showing up on screen. So maybe we got to keep it that way. Screw the casuals. It's not meant for you, all right? Come on. It's a skill issue for you. We get it. But when a game asks for 100 hours, do you see a journey worth taking or a line that should accept credit cards? And that's where we dive right into what the gamers have to say around Micah's tweet. And so the first one reads, so it's not pay to win and everyone is on an even playing field? What a shame. I think there's some truth to it. I think that's why Arc Raiders has become so successful. You don't feel like you have to have that elite status like some of these crazy builders do in Fortnite or some of the crazy mass snipers and Apex Legends, for example. Don't you think, HenricK?
Yeah, and honestly, even with the free loadouts, you can make a dent in people who have like the craziest, most grinded out loadout out there. It's not like you can't do something. You can do something even when you have nothing.
And it is such a rewarding feeling, too, in the game when you do take down an Arc or you do take down a Raider and it's just got all the goop. Oh, it's like such a good feeling, especially when you're getting blasted over and over and over again. But we got to stop listening to rich people's problems. It's kind of like what I was suggesting. It's like they're always willing to throw money to solve their problems. But you know what? Sometimes just take a back seat. Learn from the gamers. If you got to go jump on a Twitch or a Kick stream, maybe go take some lessons. Okay, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you, all right? This ain't training camp. Exactly. Put me in, coach. And then the last comment reads, you play football once a week. You got time. People are brutal. I get it. You're not playing in the NFC Championship. You got time. Quit complaining. All right. But oh, golly. Well, people are still playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as it's still etched in the gamer DNA years later. And just when you think you've cataloged every possible way to hit a game over, a player uncovers a physics interaction so ruthless it feels like the game woke up choosing violence. Have you felt that experience when you played Zelda?
Yeah, I mean, the game in general is more brutal than the previous titles, so it's almost like a Souls-like in that sense. People have compared it to, because, when you go from the games prior, those usually you can get by no issues, but in this one, you're probably going to die multiple times.
Fair enough. And it's a reminder that Hyrule isn't just beautiful, it's petty. And it will absolutely embarrass you if you get too confident. And so before we roll the clip and dive into the comments, gamers that are tuning in live, honest question, is this unpredictability exactly why Breath of the Wild still hits so hard all these years later? Think about it. Let's go ahead and take a look.
The classic tree launch to the groin.
I felt that. I felt that. All right. And let's go right
Yeah.
on in because gamers had a laugh over this clip. We've all kind of experienced this one way or another. And the first one is a meme with basically Link with the grimace on his face. Anybody
Ah!
who is, part of the male, human autonomy would understand this, okay?
Yeah.
And then the next comment that reads, right in the ocarinas. That's hilarious. And then the last comment that reads, yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't look like Link is going to be having babies anytime soon with Zelda. All right?
Yep.
So it is extremely cooked. But man, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we just want to shout out our QR codes. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show.
Go ahead and scan that QR code on your screen right there. It goes to my YouTube channel. If you like anything you see here, you'll find even more of it there. So just go check it out.
Come on, you know the drill by now. And so, HenricK, it's time. Are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, for once, let's actually sit and read this dialogue, because we got tons of it in this game.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Pathologic 3. Pathologic 3 is a narrative survival game where your choices really hold weight. The game has you play as Daniil Dankovsky, a doctor who goes to a remote town to investigate a mysterious plague that befalls the town. While trying to control the outbreak and prevent disaster, the town will fight back and hinder his progress. There is more than just the townsfolk obstructing him, however, as he soon comes to find out that some mysterious paranormal anomalies are also at play. Only through determination and careful planning will he manage to survive and save the town in the 12 allotted days. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? This is a very, very detail-oriented game from the get-go, and maybe it does fall in line with the fact that you're playing as a doctor. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, what if saving a town from a plague felt like being a hero and more like getting drafted into the Timekeepers? I mean, what in the Marvel is going on? I mean, except Loki is like already messed everything up, and now it's somehow your fault, HenricK. I mean, that's how I felt when I was playing this game. Just the idea that you can backtrack to fix the flaws that already hit you on day one is definitely quite a trip and a half, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of like time travel in a sense kind of thing, because you're having this conversation, and as it's developing with this detective, you're realizing, oh wait, not everything's been set in stone just yet. I can still change things if I need to. I can go and, make this choice over here, which the choices do really matter in this game, as you can see from even there being a menu option where you pull up this huge flow chart of your choices and what has trickled down in terms of the consequences. Yeah, this is one of those games that when you hop in, you're really getting into the weeds of things, because you got to pay attention to what people say, and you got to pay attention to what you say to people, because it will matter.
Absolutely. And Pathologic 3 throws you into a remote town with 12 days on a clock. There's a mysterious plague that, holy cow, we really got to live through another plague all over again. I mean, COVID was already a nightmare alone, but this thing in this game is spreading fast. And so you're playing as the Bachelor. He is a medical prodigy chasing proof of immortality, only to arrive by train and immediately fumble the one patient who mattered. And in the game, HenricK really wastes no time telling you that you failed. And then it goes full Marvel by rewinding the timeline and asking you to fix your own mistakes before the town collapses again.
Yeah, and you'll have to find your way through those mistakes many a time. Don't expect to know the right solution the first time around, because you're not going to.
Yeah,
It's
and
pretty much expected.
I'm with you. And I feel like this story doesn't hold your hand. It hands you guilt,
Oh yeah,
regret,
no,
and
it
a
really doesn't.
notebook full of bad decisions you get to
Mhm.
relive. And then the narrative constantly asks if saving lives is worth becoming the villain of the town. And HenricK, I've got to ask you, I mean, do you think the ability to rewind mistakes makes the story deeper or just makes the regret hit harder when you still mess it up?
Probably more of the latter because you realize, oh yeah, that one little thing I said to someone, yeah, Timmy's dead because of that now. Things like that, you know.
Right,
So
exactly.
it's like, man, like it's really it plays into a little bit of that butterfly effect theory where it's like every little small thing you do trickles down and ends up being a big consequence when it really comes down to it. But at the same time, it does immerse you in the story because you get to see all these different outcomes and all these different facets of choices that are presented to you, and you have to figure out which is the right one to progress your storyline.
Yeah, and everything lives inside your head through the mind maps, which was what you were talking about earlier. That
Yeah.
almost looks like a spreadsheet. Mind maps and reasoning, where thoughts, clues, and memories connect like a conspiracy board that actively judges you. It's pretty funny. And while your mental state swings between apathy and mania like a broken metronome, you're diagnosing, patients, you're going to be enforcing quarantines, you're going to have to choose who gets medicine, who doesn't, and then deciding
Mhm.
when order matters more than compassion. And so, HenricK, is this brilliant psychological tension, or is the game daring us players to emotionally short circuit? Because that's kind of how I felt. I was moving pretty fast.
Well, that's the thing. You can't always move too fast. You got to take a little bit of your time with these choices and really immerse yourself and consider all the options. And if you don't, that's when you maybe get the consequences that are bad, or you have to go through more effort than you should to just get the outcome you want. And at the same time, you've also got these paranormal things chasing you around, which are based off the local folklore. And that's a bit of the survival horror aspect, which, just throwing that on top of a plague going on, that's just brutal at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, and the town is oppressive. It's bleak,
Yep.
very unsettling in all the right ways. But I gotta say, HenricK, the dialogue scenes are where I felt the immersion completely face plants.
Mhm.
I mean, because NPCs start talking to you like they're like a car wash inflatable tube dancer with like zero emotions. I mean, what the hell was that? I mean, they take you to like a black backdrop, and then all of a sudden they want you to be driven by the conversation and morale pressure, but then you're watching these characters bob their heads with no facial reactions. That to me honestly felt less haunting and more like unintentionally hilarious. How did you feel about that?
Now I kind of feel somewhat similar about that as well, especially when you get some of these dialogue options for your character, Daniel. That's just like, who would say this to a
And then
child? Like, what are you doing?
But then I guess that's why people really love like New Vegas, for example, with some of the most outlandish statements. Like, you really about to say that to somebody? Who even
That's
thought
true,
about
yeah.
writing that? But then it's like, I don't know. It really pulled me away because it's like you got this beautiful environment. Why would you bring the black backdrop and then bring it into this character that's kind of just like sitting there like a Dodger bobblehead, and then there's no voiceover actors? That to me, it's painful because it's very story driven.
Because you don't want to read everything?
No,
Is that why?
well, yeah, you have to read. You have to be your own voiceover actor in a sense. And like, I don't know, I felt like that totally pulled me away from it. But then again, it's like Pathologic 3 doesn't care if you liked, or it cares if you're right, And even
Mhm.
then, it might still punish you for just trying. And so, like, HenricK, knowing that this game lets you rewind time but never erase guilt, is that the kind of experience you'd be willing to sign up for again? Because I gotta say, like, this one earns a pause. I
Oh,
just
okay.
wouldn't do this all over again. And I never played the first two, and I felt it didn't really feel like I needed to play the back two. You could really jump into this, but I don't know.
You don't have to play the first two to get into this one. I would say it's kind of a separate story from the others. I mean, it helps maybe, but it's not really a necessity. I would say, in terms of just the overall feel of the game and how it and whether or not it actually grabbed my attention. This is a very niche game for sure. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's a game for everyone because it's really not. It's a game that it's niche, but it also knows its audience at the same time, I would say, and they can really play into that because of how niche it is. And I'm not ashamed of saying in previous pause repeats that there's been times where I'll play a game and all of a sudden, some dialogue will come up and I'll just skip it because it's like, this is not the right moment for dialogue. But this is a game that really, like you said, focuses on the dialogue as the meat and potatoes of the game. So I realized that from the start and said, I'll give it a chance to sink in and immerse myself in it. And actually, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the whole, like you said, almost like Marvel Loki, like going back and making different choices sort of feel to the storytelling as well. And it actually really clicked for me on a certain level that maybe I wasn't even necessarily expecting out of a game like this, because I hadn't really played or seen much of the first two. I'd always heard that the second game was great though, but that was just my experience, and because of that, it's a repeat for me.
Yeah, I know you like to work the microscope. You like to siphon through documents. You love to read, baby. I do as well, but it was just, I don't know. It just felt so tough, and I really wanted to love it, but I just felt like there were so many marks that it missed. But then that's the beauty about it. You're finding, we're about 50-50. I'm saying pause. Henrik's saying a repeat, and that's where we want to throw it to you, the gamers. If you had the power to rewind time but still had to live with the consequences, how far would you go to save everyone before losing yourself in the process? Let us know what's good. But man, we got so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, pull out those wallets, but then put them away because we're not talking about microtransactions this time.
Let's get it. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. AAA games keep inflating like a loot box full of hot air, sliding from $60 to $70 to $80, while indies are over here doing the mental gymnastics like they feel like buying snacks at a gas station at 2 a.m. And you're like, Chris, what the hell are you even going off about? Well, because Peak is $5, except it's $8. Unless it's on sale, which makes it $5 again, and if it's $3, it's basically free, which somehow makes perfect sense to everyone involved at Aggro Crab Games. So, HenrikK, when you look at this, my cranium hurts. I don't know what's going on. I see $8, I see $10.
Yeah, it is. It is a little confusing for sure, but I mean, think about it. When you're looking at $7, $8. Or maybe 6, 7.
Oh,
forget that.
God,
it is basically $5. Though,
you just did. That's hilarious. You just stumped me. I lost words, bro. But before we dive into the comments, gamers, quick question: are these clever indie mind games, or are we all just nodding along, pretending this math checks out? And that's where we dive into the comments. And so, people online, like the first one, that quotes from Nick Kamen, the one that came up with this idea. And he said, we had this joke of like, how much is a game really? In a player's mind, what does it mean to spend $5? Well, that's $5, but $6, well, that's still $5. $4 is also kind of $5. $3 is $2, and $2 is basically free. So we've got these tiers, $12, that's $10, but $13 is $15. And we found that $8 is still $5. It doesn't become $10, $7.99. That's $5, right? So $8 going to $5 is the biggest differential we could find in pricing. So we found it to be very optimal with the comment that reads below. This is both hilarious nonsense, but somehow totally makes sense.
And that's
Wow.
the funny part about this. It's just like, yeah, you're reading that and you're like, wait, you're going here, then there, then here, then there, then there, then here. But
Does
you
it
can
all-
follow it. You can totally follow it. And you also just understand at the same time.
I feel like I just read a Dr. Seuss paragraph. Like, what was that? One
Yeah.
fish, two fish, blue fish, red fish. Like, what is going on? But then we also get more comments that say anything below $5 is basically free. Below 10 is a good deal. Starting at 20 is where I start questioning if I want to buy it, with the follow-up comment that reads, honestly, anything $10 and below, if my friends and I get even just one fun night out of it, I'd consider it money well spent. Is that
And I'm
justified?
right there with them. Yeah, no, 100%. There's probably a good handful of games that I've bought with the boys and played only that one night, and I don't regret the purchase because it was only a few bucks.
So is $10 like the official mark for a good pricing in indie game? Is that what you're saying? Because I know like a Hollow Knight Silk Song, that raised a lot of conversations amongst the indie gaming development community where it was like, holy cow, is $20 now like the new fixed rate moving forward compared to peak when it first launched? It was at $7.99. Now it's $4.95 right now.
It really depends. It's something with a lot of nuance to it. It's hard to really quantify what justifies a specific cost to a game in the indie sphere, at least. But I would say that, yeah, if a lot of games aim for around $10, that's going to be pretty much a good sweet spot for people to be willing to try the game at least. For a game like Hollow Knight Silk Song, it was very, very anticipated, so they could easily charge the $20 and still get a lot of good sales. And I would wager they probably would have still gotten a lot of sales even if they weren't as well known, just based on the fact that the game is really good. So
excellent point, HenricK. Yeah, and I also feel like too, like a lot of the times I'm always judging it by the art direction, but then there are gamers out there that just want to have really good playtime in it. Like I don't want to just be playing this one night and then never play it ever again. But then you also
it's
get a comment.
not entirely just playtime; it's also quality of the playtime, because you can pad out a game as long as you want and say, yeah, well, the game is 100 hours. Yeah, but was it quality 100 hours? No, like only 10 hours of it was actually quality.
But when it talks to money, because money talks, like this comment reads, HenricK, $8 retail is $10, $8 on sale is $5, X99 is identical to X plus $1 or one time. I don't know what's that even mean. My brain just malfunctioned right there.
It's the whole thing of like, $7.99 is $8, even though it's not going to look like $8 to everyone because it has a 7 in front of it.
See, I'm always
It's just that
amazed
whole
at like, because we're in the era of like discontinuing the penny, right? So, are we rounding up or are we rounding down? So, I would think that a lot of retailers are rounding up. We need the full dollar. We don't want to go down. This is really wild times. And then the last comment is, asking the question doesn't work because the whole idea of $8 being $5 is that it's subconscious in the mind of the consumer. Answering the question is conscious decision and will give you a different result.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Because this is definitely something. I mean, I'm not a psychology major, so bear whatever I say. Neither is Chris. So take whatever we say with a grain of salt. But no, for sure there is.
No, I thought
sort of
Pathologic 3
human
just
psychology
trained me to be in this field, but okay, fair
because
enough.
you're having to psychoanalyze everyone.
Yeah, come on. How could you diss me like that? No, just kidding. But HenricK, do you judge a game by its price tag, its hours played, or whether the developer successfully Jedi mind tricked you into saying, you know what, yeah, that's basically $5. I like that.
Well, this is a lot of, like that last comment was saying, a subconscious thing that you just do when you look at a game. But I would say to give a couple fields that I look at when I'm purchasing a game, at least in the indie space, because we're talking about that. Does it look fun? Do I imagine myself playing it for a good amount of time? Good amount of time being maybe a few hours at least. Depends on the game and how long it is. And will I regret this purchase afterwards? And that last one might be hard to say in the moment, but if I have any doubt, I'll come back to it. I'll circle back and be like, maybe I'll buy it another time.
And gamers that are tuning in live, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, or Meta, like, join the conversation, because I'm really curious on what the players have to say around this, because a lot of the time my psyche always goes, if I see anything that's $10 or less, I'm skeptical. Like, I'm like, I don't know if that's a good game. That's just where my mind goes. If I see $20, I'm like, oh, wow, the indie developers actually put some really good, put a lot of effort into
that's
this.
Interesting, because I do remember seeing, I forget exactly what game it was, but there was some AAA game that came out and wasn't charging AAA prices. It was like 40 or $50. And some people,
well, you could say our graders.
on
Marathon is going to $40. They're following the same model. Helldivers 2 could be, in that kind of threshold too.
Some people will pass on those games unless they hear otherwise that they shouldn't pass on them, just based on the pricing. If they hear that it's a AAA game and it's not being sold for $60, $70, because they're thinking, well, why are you not charging that price? And maybe sometimes it's just, the developer doesn't want to charge $60 or $70 because they want to stand out a little bit. They want to give you a better deal because they know you'll maybe buy other things in the game if they have microtransactions. But some people, they do look at game prices as like a quantification of whether or not the game is a good quality game or not.
Yeah, and then when Peak came out, it was $7.99, and it really had this like really cornball graphics. It's a co-op mountain climbing game. There was a lot of very funny viral social media clips that really helped elevate this game to be what it is today. And you know what? You got to give Nick Kamen a lot of credit, because he's got 7 years of experience at Aggro Crab. And when Peak launched in June 2025, by August it had sold 10 million copies. So there clearly something is working. And even before we even jumped on air, HenricK, there are reports coming out around The Outer Worlds 2, a video game that we reported on during Pause or Repeat, is being noticed as selling under 1 million units. So when you see this, you go, wow. And and that's why it doesn't surprise me. Like, going back to what I was saying, when I see anything that's $10 or less, I go, oh god, is this made cheap? But then when I see $80, I'm completely tuned out. I'm like, really, for Mario Kart to throw a blue shell? Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, it is one of those things. There's a lot of nuance to this, and it's an interesting discussion because it is a subconscious thing that everyone does when they're buying a game or thinking of buying a game. So it'd be really interesting to see what some of our viewers have to say in terms of this, actually.
Absolutely. And so tell us, gamers, is indie pricing a clever survival strategy or just advanced math designed to confuse our wallets? Let us know what's good. But all right, HenricK the Wreck, what's the latest industry buzz happening in the world of gaming that players need to know? Break it down.
Valve just tightened up Steam's AI disclosure rules, clarifying that behind-the-scenes tools like code helpers don't need a label. But any AI used to generate game content or create assets during gameplay must be disclosed. With nearly 8,000 Steam titles admitting to generative AI in just the first half of 2025, so it's probably even more now.
Oh, easily. Those numbers gotta be wrong. They got like only like 135 staff members to siphon through all this stuff. Holy moly.
And you compare that to about 1,000 in all of 2024. So, the growth is exponential at this point. And I'm sure that it's going to be even greater in 2026.
Yeah.
Even by the halfway point.
I mean,
we'll
just look at YouTube, how much
more
AI
than double
slop.
of 8,000.
Oh, easily. Yeah, it's going to go
Yeah.
in the tens of thousands for sure.
Yeah. So, You when you compare those, gamers are really split between curiosity and concern between this because the numbers are continuing to grow and people are concerned like, hey, are we just feeding into AI slop or what's going on? So the big question is, does this transparency calm people's fears, or does it just confirm how fast the ground is shifting under the game development sphere? Look at those comments.
That is definitely an interesting point. So let's dive right on in. First one says, makes sense because people should understand that we have to hate and bully Gen AI, not other forms of AI that actually benefits a developer by streamlining some tedious functions. In short, using an AI tool to crop complex stuff easily in Photoshop equals good. Using AI to generate concept, art, textures, music, voiceover, etc. equals bad and eligible for public beheading. Yeah, say that to all the gamers that are still playing Arc Raiders, right? Because they have AI voices in it. Is that really the case? Yeah, but do you feel like this is like a good thing, a safe thing for all consumers, that it's like you need to know where your dollar bills are going?
Yeah, transparency is important in this day and age of anything being able to be made with AI. So I don't think that it's a bad thing for them to have some transparency on the Steam page, but also yeah, any like more specificity to it is probably going to be better just because of the fact that before it was pretty broad of what they had to include as oh yeah, we're working on this game with AI. So
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
I think that is a very, very good point. And let's keep it rolling because the next one reads, a terrible and gross decision by Valve. Customers deserve to know how their games are made so they can decide whether they wish to support expletive slop or not. Hiding this only causes distrust, damages the brand, and hurts the industry. Reverse this decision. I mean, they're still having to label on
Yeah.
Steam. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not like they completely got rid of it, but it's like that argument that people had around CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, right? People were
Mhm.
clowning him. He's like, why do we even have to mention it? Like, AI is already here. Like, it's already in development as we speak. It is the future of how we make video games. But then gamers clapped back and said, that's why we have a really important little, caption during like Witcher
Yeah.
trailer, for example, that goes, this is an in-game cinematic trailer. This is not actual gameplay. So it doesn't hurt anybody to have a label, but does the label really scare you away? Like, we were talking about price tags earlier where you're like, I think the price tag scares me more than the AI label. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, HenricK?
Yeah, it's one of those things. People really like to argue only on one side or the other, but this is something with a lot of nuance to it where you have to look at the fine details, and people don't want to do that. And I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if a lot of people who are mad about these decisions made by Valve haven't even read what got changed and don't understand that it's such a it's a actually maybe a good thing because I mean, think about it. When you're working on code in any code editor, basically nowadays that
Yeah.
is up to date, you're gonna have some sort of AI tool built into it. If you're using VS Code Studio, it's right there in the sidebar. You can't really avoid it. It's gonna just be there helping you out one way or the other. And a lot of people, when they're coding these games, I mean, would you take the 2 seconds to have AI do something really quick for you rather than have to go and do something really tedious that you've done maybe thousands of times at this point and feel like you don't really need to do it again because the AI can just do it for you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
don't
food
wanna
for
do
thought,
that.
that's for sure. And like even with this comment, the last thing I want to do is defend a multi-billion-dollar company, but because of perpetual enshittification, everything is AI powered tool now. Google is an AI powered tool. Photoshop is an AI powered tool. Hell, even Windows is now an AI powered tool. It feels inescapable. Yeah, I mean, hey,
Inescapable,
Siri,
yeah.
I am
Yeah.
lost in the concrete jungle of LA. Could you please send me back to the 101 freeway? Alexa, can you use your smart plug to turn on the living room lamp? I mean, really? Why is it always when it comes to like video games, that's when like the real fear starts to kick in for some gamers? Because I think it's really important to mention, HenricK, like to know they have to still disclose everything when it comes to AI to generate content for the game. That includes the game on its store page and even marketing materials. So, like, what are people talking about? Like that last comment that was like, reverse the decision. What? They still have to mention that they used images, audio, text, and other content. It's not like that's going away. So, like, really? That's going to make you from not buying the game?
And I do feel like a lot of the arguments on the side against AI is because of things like that, like the generative AI creating games that are just pushed out by a prompt, basically. Like whether it be the art itself or the gameplay or anything like that, and that's not what this is. They still have to report that.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure there's going to be some like procedurally generated video games that are going to take advantage of this kind of stuff. And I'm sure some gamers are going to want to know because they're going to be like, wow, why does this keep feeling like the same kind of style of race or dodging certain stuff? It's going to become like the new Temple Run. And you're like, holy cow, this is all kinds of things bad. But let's go into the last comment. This one says, hey, so I hate to be that guy, but this article title is super misleading. Valve just changed the rules so that only using AI for code helpers, doesn't have to be disclosed. So that means it still has to be disclosed if you use it for concept art and visuals for a game. And so, it's kind of like what we're trying to let you, the gamers, know right here live on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And so, HenricK, should players care how a game is made or only how it feels when they hit play?
So I would say that a lot of people, and this also ties a bit into what Tim Sweeney was kind of calling for, removing the label of AI from the Steam page. People are okay, or mostly okay, with AI games as long as the game plays good and actually has some quality to it. Now, what people don't want is games to just be developed entirely with AI and then get monetized on the Steam page. That's something a lot of people still are very, very hesitant about. And just removing the label, or some developers calling for them to remove the label, almost feels like you're saying, oh, remove the label because we know our game isn't really that great, but you don't want people to know that we used AI to make it because we feel like we're losing sales because people think that all of our game is made from AI and we got lazy as a result of that. Well,
Remember
like
we talked about. Well, what about last week when we just talked about Larian Studios? Remember Larian Studios? They're like, they had to they had to go back and retrace their steps, and they're like, well, we still kind of use it as like to kind of assist us along the way. But I swear, we will never, ever utilize it. Same thing like the guys over there with Expedition 33 said, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, shoot, like right within the first week, they accidentally left one of the AI assets in game. But they quickly took it out with the patch within a week, but it cost them a trophy and one of the numerous award shows around the gaming world.
And those are examples where it's like, as long as they didn't just use it to cut corners and deliver a game that is of subpar quality, then most people are going to be okay with it if they use the tools to help a little bit here and there. It's not that big of a deal in those cases.
And like, don't you think it's? And I gotta tell this to even the gamers that are tuning live, because it's like that. I think this is like where Tim Sweeney is kind of thinking at the same time, because when you think about a survey last year with the Game Developers Conference, over 52% of the developers reported working at companies that utilize generative AI tools. So if over 50% of the industry is using it, is it pointless to put a label on the Steam page? I guess that's where we'll throw it to you, the gamers. If two games look and play the same, but one used AI heavily and one didn't, does that matter to you as a player? Let us know what's good. But let's keep it rolling because a resurfaced Jeff Bezos clip is making the rounds, claiming AI will shove all computing into the cloud, basically telling gaming PCs to pack their bags, yet the internet, ooh, you know how that goes. They heard that and they responded by lighting torches made of RGB fans. And, and before we even go any further, let's hear directly from the mouth of the Amazon founder himself. So let's go ahead and roll the clip.
And I looked at this and I thought, this is what computation is like today. Everybody has their own data center. And that's not going to last. It makes no sense. You're going to buy compute off the grid. That's AWS. We were doing it internally at Amazon for ourselves, and the APIs were created. That's a very interesting story in its own right. But this is, these kind of horizontal layers like electricity and compute and now artificial intelligence, they go everywhere. I guarantee you there is not a single application that you can think of that is not going to be made better by AI.
There's so many things to just point out about that just sound like initial thoughts at least, sound like clown behavior coming out of this guy's mouth.
Hey, it's the tech oligarchs. He's one of the leaders, and he's leading the charge. And before we read the comments, let me ask you this, gamers. Are we really ready to trade our rigs for a monthly subscription and a prayer to the latency gods? Because that's what it's starting to sound like. So let's go ahead and dive in. The first one reads, "This is why I heavily F with Steam," with the screenshot that reads, "and it's a PC. Yes, Steam Machine is optimized for gaming, but it's still your PC. Install your own apps or even another operating system. Who are we to tell you how to use your computer?" Oh, so now the Steam Machine's a computer, not a console.
It's a hybrid, Chris. We've gone over this.
What the heck? That is insane. But yeah, I mean, that is kind of cool to see, like, new competition. I think, Sony, Nintendo, and even Microsoft could all get a little bit of the, them rattled up a little bit. I think it's good, for the gaming world. That's for darn sure. But let's keep it moving because the next comment reads, "I love how tech today has nothing to do with advancement or innovation. Nothing improves. We just own less and pay more inconvenient solutions to problems they create."
This literally is the saying, "You will own nothing and be happy."
But right. I feel you on that one, but isn't it kind of wild times that we're in? We're not even a full month into 2026 and we're already hearing reports that, ChatGPT is going to be exploring ads even on their free program. And I don't know.
Yep.
Part of me kind of feels like, they're inflating the number of the value of what AI data centers are to justify the means to be able to get that money. And so when I saw
investors happy, yeah.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden I start seeing that they're going to be running ads now. It's like, wow, I thought you guys had money. Clearly seems like y'all don't, but maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
One step closer to the bubble popping, maybe.
Hopefully, man, come on now. And then you get a meme, real life Dune.
Yeah. Fall of a nation.
Yeah, everybody's still looking for that spice, aka that RAM, that memory storage. So they're going, why don't you just forget all the local memory storage? Why don't you join the cloud? Let us dictate what you can and cannot have. And then you also get a last tweet that reads, "Stadia service is no longer available. Thanks for playing." Jeff is not an expert. Google hired experts and burned a lot of money and couldn't achieve cloud gaming. Instead, gamers are buying 240 hertz monitors and 1000 hertz mice to reduce the input lag further. So, maybe there is some truth to that comment. And HenricK,
yeah, because if the service is no longer viable for them to keep it up, they're going to shut it down. So what if you pay for an app that's up in the cloud that you really like and is not available anywhere else because you can't install it, it's only up in the cloud. And then they say one day, yeah, we're not making money. See ya. Well,
Yeah,
now
that
you're
would.
screwed.
Yeah, I don't know if Jeff Bezos will be in that position to be like, wow, I'm screwed because everybody's relying on their AWS, which is basically Amazon Web Services. That
And
really
we've
brings.
seen how that could be bad in
I mean,
just the last couple months, Chris.
well, it's no different than when like a power surge happens. It's like, oh cow, I have no electricity. Oh my gosh, we're living in the dark. Oh my gosh, I'm a pilgrim right now.
Except it affects more than just one person or a whole block. It affects sometimes whole industries.
Companies, governments, right? Because they're all
Yep.
renting computing resources from AWS. Because for people that don't really know what it is, it's the easiest way to explain it is they provide servers, storage, and databases on demand via the internet, though. And that's the part. Like, if the internet goes down, you guys are completely screwed. And that's what they're hoping, that you, the gamer, will eliminate the need to own and maintain physical hardware. And so many online services, like HenricK was saying, think about it like last year. Snapchat, Venmo, Ring, the Zoom, and plenty more all got affected by these kind of style of things. And so, HenricK, is this actually the future or just another tech prophecy written in vapor?
I'm sure that they'll keep pushing for that, especially now when some hardware like RAM and storage is getting harder to actually get your hands on because of AI data centers snatching up all the supply. Well, guess who runs all the cloud storage options, and also who runs all the cloud gaming options? Amazon is one of them.
Yeah.
So they'll take your supply and they'll sell you back the supply as a cloud service. Wait a minute, this sounds very familiar, Chris. This sounds exactly like all the subscription services that we're sometimes forced to pay, like for Netflix, Spotify, Hulu, all that, where we used to have physical media. It's now been replaced with these services that you pay monthly for because it's more convenient. Yes, you don't have to keep all this physical media around, but at the same time, if you're on Spotify, I'm sure you've noticed there's sometimes you try to play an album and one or two songs is just not available. Why is that? Licensing.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting money for that. They're not paying the money for that.
Yeah, I think it's. But to be fair to Jeff Bezos, I think there is some truth to what he is saying, because I've been saying it all this time. I think there is going to become a point where like people are going to ditch the consoles, and then we're going to have these like really revamped smart TVs that will bring the cloud service to your living room or wherever you like to game. And that's where, that's why, Nvidia and, even the PlayStation Plus Premium comes into play. I think that's where it's going. Yeah, Amazon Luna hasn't necessarily caught on everybody, but when it does, holy cow, they got a lot of Prime users. And if it gets really, really good, you might just consider ditching the GeForce Now or an Xbox Game Pass, because Microsoft's saying everything's an Xbox now. Why shouldn't Amazon start saying the same thing? And I think that's why I'm going, I don't know if he's too far off. But then when he starts saying you're going to ditch your local PC, I'm like, okay, that sounds weird.
Yeah, that's
because you still need hardware to play the game.
People would want to actually go, because
yeah,
I don't think I would trust a cloud service to keep my whole computer's operating system and everything, and not have it locally installed. And I would still say also there, maybe it's a bit of a small movement at this point, but there is a bit of a grassroots movement in all sorts of things like this, that like people want to have a return to having physical media. People want to have a return to not having to rely on subscription services to get things like their movies, television, and music. And it's going to be the same thing. If you look at it right now, maybe some people aren't able to buy their new upgrades for hardware. So what are they doing? They're looking at used stuff. They're looking at stuff they already have and seeing what they can do with it, because maybe they overlooked something. And I could say there's a lot of people out there doing that nowadays and promoting that, myself included. I have a home server here at home that serves me a bunch of stuff. And I would say, look into that. It's fun. It's not for everyone, but hey, at the end of the day, you control everything, and that's what people really enjoy.
But it's like we discussed this season on Rage Quit. You know, you got to think, GameStop just closed 400 stores. It was like we joked. We're like, where do you even go to have a centralized video game store? You got to go to the back, the store at a Target. You got to go to the far back left at Best Buy. I mean, there's no Blockbusters to buy movies and DVDs. I mean, you got to, even shoot Amoeba in Hollywood had to change locations because they couldn't get enough people to buy their physical copies, and they had to move down a little bit more west in Hollywood. So it's like, yeah, I'm hoping the grassroots works, but I don't know. I mean, as generations go by, that it's not like we're standing in front of an arcade cabinet anymore. We got the tablets, we got the TVs,
Unless
all that
you go
stuff.
to a place that specifically has an arcade, which those have mostly closed out. So there's not as many of them as there once was when we were kids. That's for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. And to wrap it up for everyone watching, are you cool with gaming becoming a rented experience streamed from somewhere far away, or is local hardware still the hill you're willing to respawn on? Let us know what's good. But all right, HenricK the Wreck, with over hundreds of thousands of games released into the world, what are gamers discussing this week on Reddit? Break it down.
All right, gamers. Reddit is back in its natural habitat, passionately debating the age-old question. What game seriously needed an editor and a hard stop? Because we've all lived it. You boot up a game, ready to conquer your backlog, because there's so many games in it. And then suddenly, it's 3 months later, and you've aged emotionally. You're no longer doing things you were doing 3 months ago. Maybe you got a new job. And that platinum trophy starts to feel less like an achievement and more like a personal threat.
It can be,
you
man.
feel it's so far away. Let's take a jump into the spiciest takes from this Reddit thread on what the longest game is.
Yeah.
It's too long for its own good.
I mean, even on the top, even with the person that started it, Hogwarts Legacy, I think that's also fair game to also say in this. That's how you lead a conversation. But the first comment that was really trending around this was Assassin's Creed Valhalla, with the follow-up comment that reads,
actually.
Felt like a chore after a while. So, yeah, did you feel that way? Were you like, Odyssey was cool, but then once we got into Valhalla, it was like I really wanted to be that Viking, and I wanted to move on.
Well, that's the thing. It falls into the trap of a lot of games, not just Assassin's Creed games, but, just games in general that are massive, where there's a lot to do, but not all of it is fun. And that's a problem, because if you want to get a platinum trophy, or if you want to feel like you completed the game, you have to do a lot of things that are just not fun. And what's the point of doing that when you're not having fun? It doesn't feel like there's a point.
Yeah, that was so true, man. That's why you got to race to the finish line. And then that's where we get comments that say a lot of RPGs that give you a lot of build variety, but don't allow you to respect. I want to try other builds, but I am not going to do another 100 to 200 plus hour play through just to check them out. With the follow-up comment that reads, any RPG that has no respect option loses out in my book. Experimentation is fun in games, but once they force you to basically do a single build before you even know what you really want to do, forces you to do homework for a game, and that just pushes me off instantly. I guess that's where Micah Parson feels about Arc Raiders. He's like, man, I got to do homework. How do I build? How do I make a gun?
I'm sure that a lot of these people agreeing with this comment would also say something similar about a game like Path of Exile, where, I'm pretty sure that there's a respec option in that game, but that respec tree is crazy, so you're not going to know what to do the first time through, and you're almost going to feel like you need to play through the game again just to
because you're just clicking to
rebuild
click.
a character, because you'll get to the end and you'll be like, man, I could respec, or I could just roll another character that I actually want to play and not this one that I'm stuck with.
Yeah, I have all this like level up tokens I haven't even used yet. I need to spend it or whatever. It's like I guess I'm just gonna click and just fill the tarantula spider web. But
Yeah.
then you also get comments that read, people complain about linear stories, but in general, I prefer a linear game because there is more of a story and less wandering around looking to trigger a quest. This is most open world games that are too long. With the follow-up comment that reads, this is why I still hold that the first Batman Arkham Asylum game was the best. It told a coherent story. You never encountered something you don't have the tools to solve yet, and there was good difficulty progression. All the others told a disparate and segmented story, and the difficulty could go all over the place. Yeah, I mean, I think more studios in 2026 should take more of a gamble towards linear. You can still have
Mhm.
that semi-open world and still have a great game. You don't need to,
Yeah.
but then, the Riddler trophies do kind of consume your time. But, I still feel like it's a fantastic game. But then,
Yeah,
you
great
get
game.
comments like this. Hogwarts Legacy is not too long, but the stupid side content is trash and suffocating like most open world games. So if you don't focus on that, it's enjoyable. And don't look up what you have to do for achievements. Laugh it out loud. It's even worse. With the follow-up comment that reads, why, yes, I would love to spend most of my time in the wizarding world breaking into homes to find owl statues. I know, I thought that was like the stupidest thing in the world. I know. It got to a point where I was just like, let's
That's why
progress the
sometimes
story.
you just
Let's go.
gotta just not even worry about the achievements. I feel like in some games, it's like I could go for that achievement, but do I really want to spend all this time that I feel like I'd be putting towards something else? Maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why am I chasing after owl statues when you literally have a Quidditch arena and you didn't even set it up where we can have a mini game there? Y'all missed the mark there. Come on now, fam. Come on. And then we get a comment that reads, maybe controversial, but I'd say Red Dead Redemption 2. The story missions just become too repetitive. From memory, it's been a while since I played it. Almost every mission becomes walk right over here with someone, carry out some activity. Oh no, it's gone wrong. And now I have a chase and an escape scene. With the follow-up comment that reads, it was really fun, but at the same time, I hit a point where I quit doing side quests and focused on the main story because I didn't think I was going to finish it. I go through waves where I'll play a game for a month or so and then not pick anything up for 3 to 6 months. And I was getting close to the end of that month and I was only halfway through the story. Yeah, I've always felt I
Yeah.
think it's still a fantastic game, but I do think people put it on this like
Pedestal if
Rushmore
it's
of things, and
absolutely perfect. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not quite sold on that. I think it's a really, really it just drags in the beginning. And then yeah, once you get in, yeah, there's some cool side quests and stuff like that. But then again, we discussed it last week. Someone's going down the Easter egg trail trying to figure out a new, discovery that no one has been able to Sherlock Holmes yet. So.
Hmm.
I guess, is that a good example? I don't know. You let us know, gamers. And then the last comment is, I love Baldur's Gate 3 and consider it one of my favorite games I ever played, but my God, does Act 3 drag so bad. There's so many random side quests and fetching and just kind of boring stuff. It just turns into slog. With a follow-up comment that reads, Act 3 was so overwhelming to me that I ended up dropping the game. There's just so much to do, and I think I got lost in the sewers. So, yeah,
I do know that there's quite a few people that have been in the same situation where they get maybe even only halfway through the game and they're like, man, I'm this many hours in and I still have half the game to go. Like, what? I'm gonna have to put this on the back burner for a little bit because yeah, the game is very long. It's like 100 plus hours at least.
And that's how people feel about Elden Ring, right? For example, they're like, holy cow, I
Yeah.
keep dying and dying and dying and dying and more dying and more dying. And then you get these large regions and I'm dying. And you're like,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take a break and then maybe I'll come back. And then that break actually doesn't service you any good. It actually makes you worse.
Makes you worse.
Because you
Yeah.
have more of a skill issue going in. But HenricK, be honest. I mean, what game made you check the calendar mid-play and ask, like, why the hell am I still here?
So, two games that come to mind. One is a sequel, and one is not. Are Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And they are great games. I really enjoyed both of them, but there's certain things in the game that if you want to do the whole game, like I would do with some of the older titles in the series, you really are going to find yourself doing what feels like a chore for a long time. And it really comes down to how willing are you to do puzzles and how willing are you to do Korok missions to get seeds? Because those are the last two things that people end up getting stuck doing after they do all the side quests. And those are really just very tedious things. I mean, the shrines to do the puzzles, that I can let that pass because that's part of getting your health and stamina upgrades. But the Korok missions, I'll pass every time in getting all of those because all you get out of it is inventory slots.
Yeah, maybe Nintendo kept the game long on purpose just because they knew they didn't have enough games to keep you invested with their console. Oh yeah, shots fired. Burn. They knew people were going to be jumping ships. It's a great game. I'm just saying, but not enough to really get you to want to go running out the door. But yeah, you had actually, those are great examples. One that comes to mind for me was Banishers, Ghost of New Eden. I thought it's it's a lot of fun. It's still a blast, but man, when you get to that Act 2 and you get to that the mining caves, I don't know. To me, it started to feel like you're stuck in a loop of just fighting the same handful of spirits and wolves for hours, and I'm like, holy cow, can I get a little bit of variety? But then the game ran out of just ideas for enemies. It was weird, and it just felt like, I guess we'll just keep hitting repeat. Like, this works. We don't need to keep developing more around it. And then another thing too, that game wasn't open world. It was like semi-open world. It was a bit linear in a sense, but there was so much backtracking in this game. If you really wanted to be a completionist and get that platinum trophy, yeah, you're going to have to, go backwards to get collectibles or, just the exploration to me just felt like really busy work in the end. So yeah, I felt myself just racing to the finish line. I just lost all time in patience for this game. But gamers, tell us, which game overstayed its welcome so hard it owes you rent and an apology? Let us know what's good. But man, this has been such a jam-packed, amazing show with my homeboy, HenricK the Wreck. And to you, the gamers, we can't thank you enough for always joining us live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And so we just want to shout out our YouTube channel. So go ahead and like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This QR code will lead you directly to my YouTube channel. So show some love. We love you, fam.
And you see this QR code, go ahead and bask in its glory for 1 second. And then when you're done, go ahead and scan it because it goes to my YouTube channel where there's tons of content just waiting to be watched. So go watch some, leave me some comments, let me know how they are. And I'll be looking for them.
Yeah, we can't thank you guys enough, and enjoy the rest of the week and play lots of games and stay up all night, but do your homework. Maybe not. Putting some game hours in. We'll see you soon, fam. Peace.
See ya.